Good evening, this is Lindley Anderson back with video number 4 for Instructional Technologies, and I was wanting to talk about Booksource Classroom Organizer for classroom libraries. I know that most teachers at middle school and elementary levels in our district are required to have a classroom library, and that is to facilitate getting books to students who are either restricted from checking out books from the library, or if there are popular books, then they can purchase additional copies because the library is only given so many funds for the year. So it's classroom.booksource.com is where you will go, or you can just type in Booksource Classroom Organizer into the search bar, and it should pull you up to their home page here. So I'm going to switch over where I've logged into my account, and there are so many wonderful features with this, and they have improved it over the last few years from when I even first signed up. The first time I signed up, it was simply a book management system for you to be able to keep track of your books and to have an inventory, but you can actually do a lot more with this that can help to show the progress of your students that may not be reflected on state assessments. So you can see here at the top we have the teacher homepage, which is where I am at. So the one thing about Booksource Classroom Organizer is that you'll set up a user ID and you'll set up a password, but then you'll also have to set up a teacher password that gets you into your teacher homepage. And that is to prevent students from being able to accidentally or even on purpose delete books from your library. So it's really a protective measure. And then you can see here that you have the students function. So if I click on students, you can see here it tells me that I have no students in this class. So you are going to have to import your student names or add your students into your classroom. Okay? And once you do that, the students page is where they can check out the books themselves. So if you have a dedicated iPad in your classroom, you could set that iPad up next to your classroom library and teach your students how to check books out to themselves. Of course, you'd want to monitor it the first few times. You want to really make sure that the students are being responsible, but it's a way to empower your students and get them really thinking about responsibility and accountability, so on and so forth. So that is the students page. If I go back, here on the teacher homepage, let's take a look at the dashboard. So this is the overall dashboard. You can see here it will tell you how many books are overdue. Reviews. So this is a new function. Once a student has read a book, they'll be given an option to actually review the book. And so you will then have a chance to approve that. And if you approve it, it will then link to the title. That way another student who comes along, either that year or the following year, will have an opportunity to read through the book's reviews and get actual student opinion about whether or not the book is worthy of reading. This will tell you how many books you have checked out, how many students you have with books, and the overall distribution of your classroom library, fiction versus nonfiction, and then non-categorized. Okay? So it will also give you suggestions. Booksource has, you can actually buy books from Booksource, and so it will actually give you popular titles that you might want to add throughout the year, ones that have been popular throughout the nation, and you can order those easily and have them shipped to you. So that's the overall dashboard and the information that you can receive. Over here to the left, you'll see your options. So I'm going to click on Library. I still have my classroom library titles loaded in here for teaching purposes because I have done a couple of professional developments for new teachers to get them started with Classroom Organizer. And so I left my titles listed even though those books are no longer with me because they are property of my former placement. So you can see here, if I scroll down, that you have options of how you want to organize. It starts, I just, of course, put it alphabetically. If the ISBN is not one that Booksource has loaded in their system, it will not upload a picture. But you can certainly take a picture of the book and add it yourself if you would like. You can see across the top that this is your edit function, so if you want to edit any of the details of the book. The kids are given the title and the author along with the ISBN number. You can put it into a genre when you scan it in. Is it fiction or nonfiction? And then if you know the Lexile level, you can put it in, but if, for example, if you take a look at a child called It, when I scanned this book in, Booksource already had all the information and it just plugged it right in for me. So it tells what the subject is, that it's not considered a specific genre, that it's nonfiction, and its Lexile is 850. Books that are not recognized, you would have to go in and add all that information yourself. You can see here A Midsummer Night's Scream, again, fairy tales. Did not categorize it, but that would be fiction, and 470 Lexile. Here's another one, a separate piece, Lexile. So for those of you who use Lexile measures in your district, this would be a great tool because the kids would automatically know which books are within their reading range. So this is your library, and it will list it. To add a title, you simply type in the ISBN number here. Now you can also use this, download the app on your iPhone or your iPad, and what you can do on those two is you simply hold the scanner over the ISBN, and it will automatically, if it can find it, it will add it to your library. You can scan, I scanned over probably 150 books in less than 20 minutes because it was that quick. So then of course you have to come to the website to do all the editing for your books, but that's something that can be done over time. So up here we have the grow and manage, which is what we're doing. Then we have book quantities, locations, and conditions. So if I click on that tab, see if it will take me there, right? When you scan in a book, it's going to ask you all sorts of information to put in. So it's going to ask you where is it located, what's its condition. If you want to put that in, you can. If you don't, you do not have to. Okay? It's going to give it a copy ID. What that copy ID is basically like a barcode on an actual library book, and it's the unique identifier for that particular book. And you can see under Child Called It, I had 3 copies of that, so it gave it 3 distinct identifiers so that we can keep track of which copy is being checked out to which student. Then we have ebook management. This is new since I first signed up, but apparently you can now download ebooks into your classroom library and students can check those out from you. And I think that's a pretty cool thing because, ebooks are all the rage right now, and your students might not want to read a physical book. Maybe they have the ability to have books on a tablet or a phone. So enhancing your ebook or offering them ebook would be great. And then, of course, there's checkout for students. So if you're wanting to manage the checkout yourself, this is where you would do that. And you would come over, get it right, and it will list the books. So you would find the book that you wanted, and then just click here, and it will list all of your students, and you just highlight the student's name, and then it will check that book out to that particular student. So you can also import or export. If you buy directly from Booksource, you can import your ISBNs from the invoice and it will automatically add them to your library. If you want to export your classroom list to an Excel file for safekeeping, you can certainly do so. You can also, as long as you have it set up correctly, you can import from Excel into Classroom Library. So lots of good functions there. Then if we go over here to the Student Management tab, you can see here it's going to ask me for my teacher password again. Okay, so this is where I can add my students. Again, you can import and export from Excel your class rosters to make it easier for yourself. So I would certainly do that, especially if you're working with PowerSchool or Skyward that easily allow you to export out into Excel. It will save you a lot of time than having to go through individually. Another great feature of Classroom Library is the ability to generate reports. You can see here the different reports that you are able to generate about your classroom library. These would be great to have on hand for administrators or parents to show them how you're trying to differentiate for the students in the classroom. It will tell you book checkout history. You can see your popular titles, your current books, and your overdue books. That way at the end of the year, if a book hasn't come back to you, you can go to the child and say you either need to return the book or you need to pay for its replacement. You can also see here generate individual student reports, checkout history by Lexile, guided reading, AR, or a complete detail about a particular student's reading history. And this will help you with managing and guiding students to the right books that are going to help them grow as readers. Over here we also have teacher resources, right? Booksource is really great about giving you resources on how to find the right books for your students, best practices, digital media, title recommendations, and then of course your account. So under title recommendations, this is where Booksource can help you build your library, especially if you're a brand new teacher and just starting out. So you would just choose your grade level from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. And I have 8th grade here. And it will list the titles that have been the most popular within the last year or two. And it will give you their price. So booked is $12.74, $8.24 for drama. They're usually about 10 to 15% off list price. And pretty competitive to Amazon. So this is Booksource Classroom Organizer. I hope if you have a classroom library that you will engage with this and get yourself organized. And I hope that this was helpful. The ISTE standards that I would tie this to, I guess I would say that this is really more of a student benefit. So if I were to tie it to ISTE standards, I think it would probably be Empowered Learner, so standard number 1. And students can use technology to send feedback about the books, so it definitely ties in with 1C. But I also think that it ties in with 1A, because students that are empowered with reading choice are able to set learning goals and reflect on their learning process themselves. So 1A and 1C is where I would tie this to in the ISTE. And quickly before I run out of time, I believe that this falls under, I think this probably falls under PCK4, the reflecting of practice and making necessary adjustments based on data, but it could also fall under TPAC1, candidates integrating current and emerging digital tools to collect, analyze, and present information. So I'm almost to the max time limit for Screencast-O-Matic. I know this was a long video, but I was really excited to show this to you. I hope that you find Classroom Library Organizer useful for yourself, and have a good evening. Thank you.